Silly Conversations, the podcast. Your host, Denzel Mills.
Podcasting people, it's been a while. And you want to know why it's been a while? Well, let's see. For those who regularly work with me, you know this. Because I say it virtually every week. In my building, and if you live in Valencia, in quite possibly any building which is not a house, you know that the walls, the actual construction is very poor. Extremely poor. And I just happen to be in one of those types of buildings. Now, the building itself is still standing after the mascletas. However, the walls in my building are just so thin, it's incredible. Now, the problem is not that my neighbors are loud. They speak probably the same volume as me, play the music the same volume as me, but they have a kid. And you know what kids are like. Young kids. The ones who cry. So, that sound, basically, it's not that it transmits through the wall. It's like penetrating through my walls. And then their normal conversations, and I suppose when I'm giving classes online, or when I've got people here and we're having conversation, that conversation also goes through to them. But most of the time, it's just me. Most of the time, it's both of them and the baby. So we have my neighbors who like to sing as a couple. I don't have a problem with couples being happy and friendly and lovey-dovey, but do you need to actually sing together when it's not a competition? Do you need to be at home on a Saturday or a Sunday singing together? If you sing with your partner, your husband or your wife, and you're not professional singers, you don't even do it as a hobby, tell me. Because normal, everyday people, couples, should not be singing together. Romantic dinners, yes. Helping each other out, yes. Giving each other advice, yes. Having babies, I'm not too sure about that. But singing? No. Come on. No singing. So that's one thing. Trying to get a bit of quiet time to do some recording. The other thing is, these last 19 days or so, we've had fires in Valencia. And if you're from Valencia, you know what fires is all about. And if you've traveled to Valencia at any time, you will know what fires is all about. To try and do anything in this period, and I say anything, walk, drive, move, give classes, go to the toilet. Go to the toilet in fires, it's just virtually impossible. And record, well, you'd be an idiot unless you're actually recording in fires for a television program, etc. But obviously, you know that this podcast is for the more sophisticated type person. So that's the introduction, ladies and gentlemen, podcasting people, my podcasting people, welcome. I'm back. So yeah, it's been a while, and with the day-to-day things of life and working and more life, it's been a very non-interesting time, and therefore it's been quite difficult to generate ideas or content for me to talk about. Now, a lot of things have been happening in the world, and a lot of things that I think if I do talk about them would probably get me banned, killed, or both, banned and killed, because everybody has a particular point of view. Mr. Orange Man, and I'll be very clear, Mr. Orange Man is Mr. Trump, Donald Trump. And have you noticed, nobody seems to comment on his skin color, which is not his normal skin color, but sometimes the shades change. You watch any news program, forget what he's talking about, because basically I think he's just nuts. And I think some of the news outlets are also very, very weak. But anyway, the point is Trump, skin color. Or should we just say makeup? Makeup. Because it's not consistent. There was one time I saw Trump and basically I thought it was a black man. That's how dark the orange was. And my question is, apart from the stupidity he's doing, does anybody actually comment on this in America? On the news here in Spain, nobody comments on this. I don't know about the UK, but his makeup artist is not very consistent with the color. Even I know when they do films, they have, I think it's called a DP, Director of Photography, and they have somebody who consistently makes sure that all the images and articles, images, the clothes, etc., are exactly the same from one frame to the next frame. And whoever's doing Trump's skin coloring is not very consistent. I don't know if it's a 5-year-old with crayons or something, but they're not very consistent. But anyway, that's just a different thing because I could continue for ages. But anyway, check out the skin coloring painting thing because it's not consistent. Then I've been helping out a couple of people with just some general things, like organizing their CV for work, maybe even doing some coaching. See, the word coaching now has become such a fashion word. Everybody's a coach. And so that's why I use the word coaching with a little bit of resentment. So I just say helping some people out. But a couple of ex-clients who needed some help with certain things about going forward in life, looking for work opportunities or changes in their professional career. And I've been helping those people out with a little bit of my knowledge and skill set, which is very wide in a very narrow sense. So that's what I've been doing as well. But also, the other thing is just inspiration. That lack of inspiration. Trying not to fall into the trap of a podcast which talks about the grammar, vocabulary, exam preparation, those kind of things. And whilst I do that at work for people who pay me, you, podcasting listeners, don't pay me. Now, if you do want to pay me, let me know. I'll be more than happy to take your money. But I do that with people who pay me, and I think it's something you can find on the internet. I want to keep it away from that, and I want to keep it to just listening to somebody, that somebody's obviously me, rambling on about life, and maybe there are some interesting things that you'll take from it. Maybe it helps with your listening skills, or just kind of makes that journey to work or from work, or now we're getting into much better weather, the sitting on your terrace, not the sitting, remove the article, sitting on your terrace, in a bar, on the bus or metro, and just having something to listen to improve your listening skills. And I always go on about this, whether you pay me or not, you can have a teacher. You can have a teacher for 5 days a week and do 5 hours a week with that person. But you need to invest some of your own time to actually consolidate everything that's actually going in. It's a bit like having a recipe book. You can have it and you've got all those recipes, and it tells you what you need to buy, how much you need to buy, how to do the preparation, how to actually cook it, and even some of them gives you nice pictures of how to serve it and recommendations of what you can serve this with. I'm still cooking, not just the Greek thing, but the Italian as well. So I'm still on my cooking analogies. So you've got your cookbook with all the recipes and they're all there. But sometimes you got to get your hands dirty. You got to get the knife out and start cutting those onions. You got to get the flour out and start cracking those eggs and practice and make it. And even if you follow the instructions exactly as they are, somewhere along the line, there's going to be a small error, small mistake, something which could have been in the oven for maybe 5 minutes more, something which was a little bit overcooked or a little bit undercooked. But this is what we call practice. Now, you may not have somebody as gorgeous and intellectually stimulating as me to talk to on a regular basis, apart from through the podcast. You may not have that. Some of you may have somebody even more intellectually stimulating, but probably not more gorgeous than me. You may have that option. And if you don't, then the next best thing is to do some listening and fine-tune your listening skills. You know, and I've got a student, Carlos. And Carlos today, the 22nd of March, is running a half marathon in Madrid. And Carlos has only started running the last 14 months or so. He did the half marathon in Valencia, this half marathon in Madrid, and then his plan is to run the full marathon in Valencia in December 2026. And I'm sure he'll do that. But what I actually like about what he tells me is he has his trainer, which is kind of a distance coach kind of thing, where basically every month the coach gives him a program to follow, and then he actually feeds back the information, I think at the end of each week, time period, and then the coach updates or modifies the coaching process. But the key about this comes back to what I said before. You've got to get the motivation. You have to have that ability to do that little bit extra by yourself, whether that means preparing the right kind of food because your coach has already prepared the workout session that you have to do in terms of weights or running and distances and sequences. I think they call it sets. Maybe they call it sets. I'm not too sure. But the coach has prepared that for you. But then you need to do your part. Your part is where that motivation comes in terms of maybe when you feel tired, if you've got kids, you've had a hard day, you've had an argument, you've listened to the greatest podcast in the world, and you thought, really, I just need to sit and chill now and absorb all the goodness that has come into my ears, filled my brain from silly conversations. And then now I need to get up and do some activity. And Carlos does this regularly, you know, whether it's his kids, hard day at work, he always finds the time to get out and do what he needs to do, and then find that family time, and then the time for work, and the time to do his homework as well. And he does all those things. That's that little thing where people then say, I don't have enough time. I didn't have enough time to do it. We have the time. We just don't know how to try to fit it in. You know, I used to do observations of a gym goer. And there's no observations of a gym goer because I really dislike going to the gym. I continue to do a little bit. I mean, the smallest amount of exercise ever, which is probably just make my coffee in the morning, drink my coffee, and wash up. That's my exercise. I really dislike going to the gym. I'm not enjoying it. I don't even see, okay, I see the benefits. But the benefits really don't generate anything positive for me. Obviously, other people looking at this fantastic body, maybe it generates and stimulates other things for them. But for me personally, nothing. The other thing I do, which I find time for, and following my own advice, I have started, well, it's not I've started, I've been doing it now for a few months, maybe even 6 months now, trying to learn Portuguese. I'm not taking any classes. I'm not using Duolingo and any other program or anything like that. I do use YouTube, and I do have some recordings which kind of gives you some phrases, some structures, and vocabulary. And I always have that in my car. So if I ever pick you up, I mean, driving wise, not, relationship wise, if I ever pick you up and I'm taking you from A to B, quite possibly you'll hear some Portuguese language learning vocabulary stuff in my car. So that's every day, because I use my car virtually every day, and it may be for half an hour, 45 minutes, and that's what I do. Sometimes I like the change, so I'll put some cool music on, but then I kind of always go back. In the mornings or at the weekends, because of some of the YouTube channels I'm following, there are similar ones in English where it's called Slow English, I think. And in this case, it's called Slow Portuguese, where people talk about their day-to-day life, just explaining what they're going to do before they leave the house to go shopping. Maybe what they take with them when they go to the gym. Now, obviously, that YouTube video was absolutely useless for me because I don't go to the gym. Or maybe they explain maybe how to prepare what they do for breakfast in the morning, and you get that vocabulary. Now, what I do, sometimes I'm just listening whilst I'm organizing other things, and other times I'm just watching and listening at the same time. So we can find the time to do these things if we want to improve our language skills or aspects of our language skills. In my case, I'm starting from zero with Portuguese. And you may ask me, why Portuguese? That's the question. Ask me the question. Repeat the question, why Portuguese? Thank you for asking me the question. Why Portuguese? It's because I like the place. I like the place. I like the food, the people I've met there. I like the people. And it would be just something that I would like to be able to communicate much better with them when I go there. And my hope is to travel there more often, to start practicing and kind of use it in real life with people, not just in my head. Because in my head, I'm quite good. The reality is, put me in a shop or a bar and let's see if what's in my head actually comes out and functions. And we can do the same. Or my students and people who are listening to this who use English for work, is just add that little bit of extra stuff to your day-to-day. We're not saying you modify your activities, but you need to remove music, put an audiobook, look in YouTube or look in YouTube. Look on YouTube, not in. Look on YouTube and search in English. That's the important thing. If you're looking for things in English, you need to search in English. If you're looking for something that helps you improve your listening skills. And the other thing is, I can't remember. There was another thing, but I can't remember. So part of the how can I get better? How can I improve? It's just a little bit of dedication and trying to find a way to incorporate it into what you actually do. And if the sitting in front of the TV or on your computer or with a language book is not your thing, then try something else. As people, I think we're very square. We're taught one thing, we look at it from that point of view, and we're very reluctant to change the perspective of how we can actually do this thing. What I'm saying to you now is try to change a perspective, whether it's language learning or life. As I've been coaching, Denzel the coach, as I've been coaching a couple people in terms of career change and a few other things in terms of developing their personal profile. Don't want to go into too much detail on that. So, podcasting people, this is more just a little bit of a catch-up because, like I said, I lost a little bit of the motivation. Not motivation, inspiration. Things that kind of attracted me to talk about. And hopefully this gives you a little bit of something to listen to. And still preparing some other interviews which will be coming up this year. Okay, this year's a long time, but anyway, will be coming up. So my podcasting friends, thank you very much for your time. I know it's been ramblings. This could be like ramblings number 2, because I think I did ramblings number 1, and generally I do a lot of ramblings. So this could be ramblings number 2. Thank you very much for your time. Keep listening to the podcast. If you're here now and you haven't subscribed, then obviously you like what you're hearing. So please subscribe. Help a brother out. This is Silly Conversations. Bem, muito obrigado por ouvir-me ao meu podcast. Até ao próximo.
The voices and the names have been changed in this podcast to protect the wicked. For any grammar, information, or correction, please ask someone else, not me.